Hey everybody, welcome back to Reaction Reviews. Today we are checking out the official trailer for Wicked that's coming out soon. They just dropped the trailer 9 hours ago, so 9 hours, but as of the time I'm watching this, and it'll be a couple days before I actually post it for you guys to watch. So when you're watching this, it'll be 2 days old. But anyway, it's the Wicked movie. And for those of you that aren't familiar with it, it's based on the Wizard of Oz, the original story by L. Frank Baum. And I mentioned in one of my other videos about how when I did some stuff on TV, I did a TV pilot, and they had me come up with a stage name. And the stage name I came up with, L. Frank Christian. And one of the influences that I used to come up with that name was L. Frank Baum. It's one of my favorite authors. So this is interesting for me. There's been many different adaptations to The Wizard of Oz. There's been sequels, all sorts of stuff. The most popular and most beloved probably is still the 1930s classic with Judy Garland. When I was a kid, we'd watch that every year. Around Christmas time, it would come on and we'd all gather around the TV and watch it. Nowadays, you can watch it digitally anytime you want to online. Very cool. But they came out with a sequel to it called Return to Oz in the mid-'80s. Fairuza Balk was a child actress back then, and she's gone on to make a bunch of movies. But she played Dorothy in that, and it got mixed reviews. I actually enjoyed it because of the controversial opening scene before she goes back to Oz. Because one of the reasons why I think I might have mentioned this on here before, I enjoy horror movies, especially ones that show children in danger, because those, for me, are the most scary. When you think of children being put in dangerous situations, that's terrifying to me, to think of a child in a situation like that. And so to see Dorothy in a situation to where, okay, spoiler alert for the next 15 seconds for those of you that haven't seen Return to Oz. Okay, spoiler alert starting now. In Return to Oz, after she returns, nobody believes that she went to Oz. They think she's going crazy, and so they subject her to shock therapy. And so, okay, spoilers over. So for me, or they're getting ready to. They don't actually do it. But to see her put in that situation is terrifying for a child or for anybody. And so that was really scary for me. And that's, for me, what makes a horror movie really scary. Now, of course, Wizard of Oz isn't supposed to be a horror movie. It's supposed to be, a children's sort of show. So that's what made it controversial. But when you think about it, horror movies and horror stories and nightmares stories and ghost stories and stuff like that, bedtime stories for children that are scary, they're meant to be scary. You think of the Grimm brothers, the fairy tales they came out with. The originals aren't nearly as politically correct, you might say, as the ones we watch today, because back when they were originally written by the Grimm brothers, they had sometimes really dark endings to them. They didn't always have a happy ending, like Happily Ever After, like Walt Disney made famous. And so, and some of our lullabies that we sing to kids, rock-a-bye baby on a treetop, when the wind blows, the cradle will rock, when the bough breaks, the cradle will fall, and down will come baby, cradle and all, or cradle baby and all. You think about the lyrics in that, that's terrifying. Why are we singing that to babies and singing that to our kids about, rocking a baby in a treetop? Why it's in a treetop in the first place? Why you put a cradle up there? And then when it falls, down falls baby. That's terrifying. That's horrible. And, you think about the stories that we tell the kids, our fairy tales, Three Blind Mice. If you know the historical context behind that, what that represents, it's some scary stuff. And so, historically, back before, our generation, back before we were, even I, as an older, getting close to being a senior citizen here in a decade or two, you think back about how children's stories were originally written, and they're pretty scary. So that having been said, Return to Oz I enjoyed because I like to be scared when I watch scary movies. But anyway, one of the adaptations they did was called Wicked, and it was a Broadway musical that came out, I think it was in the 80s or the 90s. And it was really huge. I mean, it was phenomenal. I mean, it got rave reviews. Everybody loved it. And it went on and on for probably one of the most long running and most celebrated Broadway musicals of all. And so they're finally doing a big screen adaptation of it. And I don't see on here where it's being released. I'm looking here. It tells the producer, based on the best-selling novel by Gregory Maguire. So apparently, he took for inspiration the story of The Wizard of Oz and wrote this book. Then they did the Broadway musical by legendary Grammy and Oscar-winning composer and lyricist Stephen Schwartz. Okay, here we go. So it's the Broadway stage musical is produced by Universal Stage Productions, Mark Platt, the ARACA Group, John B. Platt, and David Stone. Okay, Universal Pictures. This is on Universal's YouTube page. So Universal Pictures is putting out this adaptation of Wicked. And let's see, does it have a release date on here? I don't see it right away in the description, but it might tell on the trailer when it's coming out, if they've even got a release date yet. But let's go ahead and check this out. Check out the trailer for Wicked. Basically, it's The Wizard of Oz told from the perspective of the Wicked Witch. So let's go ahead and check it out. This is going to be interesting. Okay. And here we go.
Are people born wicked? Or do they have wickedness thrust upon them?
Interesting question. Theological question. Maybe we'll get into that here in a minute.
You're green. I am.
Welcome, new students, to Shiz University, Miss
Alphaba.
You can room with Miss Glinda.
Glinda. Glinda the Good. Okay, so this is when they're kids.
By the way,
Do you really think this is fair?
Well, not kids,
I
but
did not.
young.
I was promised a private suite. But thanks for asking.
Okay, so they're roommates. And, like, witch school, I guess?
Please, everyone take your seats. In today's
Okay,
Oz,
reminds me of Harry Potter a little bit. It's got the goat as a
true
teacher.
magic has become all too rare.
Absolutely remarkable.
Okay, so she's gifted.
That was you who made all that happen. How did you do it?
I don't know. I've never known.
Okay, especially gifted, kind of like a Harry Potter.
Come with me.
Of course.
Not you.
Oh, not you, her.
You're the one the wizard has been waiting for.
So the wizard was around before her.
Ew. I know. It's my granny's. I'd give it away, but I don't hate anyone that much.
Oh, what a
You
burn.
should join us tonight. And don't tell me you have nothing to wear. Because you could wear this.
Ooh, the witch hat.
Something has changed.
Oh, and she's ostracized.
She doesn't give a tweet what anyone thinks.
That's relatable.
Not the same. Of course she does.
Yep.
She just pretends not to.
The wonderful Wizard of Oz summons you to the Emerald City.
Come with me. What?
See,
To
she
meet
was-
the wizard.
Glinda
What?
was a good
Now's
friend.
your moment. I'm coming.
Okay, this is going to be a touching story, looks like. Ooh, the wizard. Oh, my goodness. That's a scary looking Oz. Okay, it's coming out for Thanksgiving.
Something bad is happening in Oz.
The winged monkeys.
The best
Ooh,
way
nice,
to bring
CGI.
folks together is to give them a real good enemy.
Oh, look who it is.
You have no real power.
Oh, so he's the wizard.
Don't let her get away. This
Oh, look who that is. Oh, there's when she's little. Man, it makes you feel really bad for her.
I'm not afraid. It's the wizard who should be afraid of me.
And it shows how a villain gets started. Thanksgiving. Okay. All right, let's talk about it. Okay, now, let's make sure I turn that off so it doesn't start playing again. Okay. Playing the wizard, what's his name? Oh, I want to say it, so I'm going to Wicked the movie cast. Okay, Cynthia Erivo as Elphaba. I don't know who that is. Oh, that must be the girl playing the witch. Okay, Ariana Grande is Glinda. Not a huge Ariana Grande fan, but she looked good in the role. I guess she could fit as Glinda as a teenager. Jonathan Bailey as Fiyero Tigalar. Okay, so they've got some new characters in here that I'm not familiar with. Ethan Slater, Michelle Yeoh, playing Madame Morrible. So she's one of the teachers. I like Michelle Yeoh. She's in some Star Wars stuff that they put out recently and did a really good job as it. She played, if I'm not mistaken, she plays one of the bounty hunters that was in the Boba Fett and the Mandalorian series and did a great job. And then she went on to reprise those in the voice acting for the Clone Wars and the Bad Batch. And so I'm excited to see her in that role. Jeff Goldblum, there it is. Jeff Goldblum plays the wizard. Of course, he's a great actor. We love anything he's in. Let's see, Marissa Bode, Keela Settle, Bowen Yang. Peter Dinklage is in it, okay. Which is kind of ironic. Peter Dinklage really slammed recently when they were coming out with the remake for Snow White and the Seven Dwarves. He really slammed the original on that for the using Seven Dwarves in that, and so he was defending that when they remade the Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, that they were going to cast people that weren't dwarves in it, and just completely change the whole thing. So that's kind of interesting that he would go ahead and apparently play a Munchkin in this, particularly after he criticized the Snow White and the Seven Dwarves. And so a little bit of a question there. I like Peter Dinklage as an actor. He did a great job in Game of Thrones. Fantastic. And in fact, he played one of my favorite characters in that series. Aaron Teo, Colin Michael something that ran off the page. Gracia De La Paz. I've heard of somebody named De La Paz, but it wasn't her. It must be a daughter, maybe, of who I'm thinking of, and I can't think of the first name. But anyway, coming out 2024, this Thanksgiving. It looks like it's going to be interesting. I am all on board for, telling the story from a different perspective. It's interesting to see the villain's side of perspective. As a Star Wars fan, we grew up watching the original trilogy, and Darth Vader was the villain, obviously. And then to go back for the prequels and to see how he became a villain and how he started off with good intentions and stuff, how a potential hero becomes an anti-hero, and then ultimately perhaps even a villain, is really interesting to see how that journey can happen. And from the opposite direction, still in Star Wars, you imagine Han Solo, how he started out as a kid with good intentions, and got involved in situations where he ended up becoming a rogue, a rebel, a pirate, and basically a thief. And so he wasn't really a hero when he started out there. When we met him in the original A New Hope, the original Star Wars, but his journey about how he ended up becoming a hero was a journey of growth. Here we're seeing it in reverse. similar to the story of Anakin Skywalker, about how she starts off as a child that is bullied. Apparently, according to the trailer here, it looks like she's bullied as a child, and as she's growing up, as she's seen as being physically different with the green skin, and also being ostracized by her peers, and maybe even teachers might get involved in it as well, but especially, sorry for the traffic, especially from her peers, as she has this special gift. She's really gifted at what she does, and maybe jealousy would contribute to that, to where your peers might make fun of you because you're a little bit different physically, and you're especially gifted more than they are. And so I can see how that would really jade somebody, no pun intended, color-wise, the color green, but how that could jade somebody and turn them down a dark path. Ariana Grande as Glinda. Michelle Yeoh, Jeff Goldblum. Yes, I'm definitely going to be interested in seeing this. Theologically, being this is universal, I hope they do a good job with it and make some good decisions theologically about it, because this is really a theological theme. The very first quote in the trailer that they had there was, "Are people," or something to the effect of, "Are people born evil, or is evil thrust upon them?" And that's a very important theological question that is debated even in religious circles. Religious groups disagree on that. And I come back to the idea of original sin and free will. And so, yes, originally, God created everything to be perfect, to be beautiful. This is the preacher in me coming out now. But God created everything to be perfect. The Garden of Eden was literally heaven on earth. And when he created Adam and Eve, they were created perfect. There was no problems. There was no sin. There was no pain, no suffering, no disease. All that was just unheard of. It didn't exist. In fact, in Genesis, how it describes is God created this, he created that, and it was good. And then when it got down to the end, he created man, and it was very good. And so God didn't create sin. He didn't create pain and suffering, disease. But along comes Satan, Lucifer, the devil, and he led man astray. And by our own choice to follow him, and by us, I mean mankind in general, by our choice to follow him and to disobey God, who gave us the rules, do not touch this because it's dangerous, we didn't listen. We went ahead and played with a snake in the garden, sort of thing. We went ahead and played with matches when mom and dad said, don't play with matches, you're going to get burned. Well, we didn't listen. We went ahead and played with them, and we got burned. And it's our own fault. So yes, God created us originally without sin, created mankind. But since then, mankind has what they call original sin. And that means that because of mankind accepting sin into the world and introducing it through that choice in the Garden of Eden, then all mankind, not just mankind, but all of creation around us, has sin introduced into it. That's why we have death. That's why we have pain, why we have suffering, disease, sickness, all this kind of stuff. War. It's all because of our choice. And so, yes, when we're born, we have original sin. So we have natural inclinations to do, we have natural inclinations to be selfish. You look at a baby, and a baby is beautiful, it's wonderful, it's so cute and awesome, but babies cry all the time. You know why? Because they have needs, they have wants, they have desires, and they grow up to become toddlers, and then they grow up to become children, and then the children grow up to become kids and teenagers and adults, and all throughout that entire process, we are naturally selfish. Sorry, I had to pause the video there for traffic going by real quick. But yeah, I talked in my reaction to the Crowder song, Grave Robber, about how we are naturally selfish. We're all sinners, and we all need a savior. And I think that's important to realize, that yes, we're all born that way. That's a phrase that we hear a lot of times is, I'm just born that way. Yes, we all are born that way. We're all born with a sinful nature. We're all born with selfish desires and needs, and it's just something that we have to deal with, and it's because of original sin. And so the thing about Christianity is that God loves us so much that He sent His Son to die for us, so that we wouldn't have to be slaves to the sin. We wouldn't have to be slaves to this concept that pulls us down and ties us to earth and ends with destruction. And that reminds me also, this is a Broadway musical. You hear the term Broadway. I have concerns about Broadway myself, because a lot of the stuff that comes from Broadway isn't really wholesome, and it may lead you down the wrong path. And that's a biblical concept I think of, because when it comes to, Jesus said that the road to heaven is straight and narrow, and the road that leads the other direction is broad. It's a broad way that leads to destruction. And so I am concerned about that, as far as I hope, with this being a Broadway musical, that they get the theology right in this, and don't, give the impression that, oh, it's okay to be who you are and how you are and stuff. It's not okay for me to be how I am, to be who I am. Without Christ, I'm lost. And so I need Him to get me back on the right track. We all do. And that's just the way things are because of original sin. And He gives us the free will to choose whether we're going to follow Him to heaven, or whether we're going to follow the broad way that leads to destruction. The choice is ours. So, I'm interested to see this. I hope they answer these questions in a positive way. But that's a question we all ask at some point is, what's the reason for evil? Why is it there? And people that do evil things, are they born evil? In a sense, the answer is yes. And it's not because God created them that way, but we are born into a world that is full of evil and sin and hatred. And we're not meant to have hatred for each other. God is love, and we're supposed to imitate Him. We're supposed to be love to each other and to show true love. Not this artificial, superficial type of love that the world describes, that the world has in the love songs. And recently, when I reacted to one of my videos I reacted to was the new Selena Gomez song, and I commented on it about the free love sort of thing, put that in quotes, free love, to where it's all about the physical act, and it's not about the true love. And that's not what love is. And, love is not always love. Depends on your definition of love. And God is true, perfect, unselfish love. The perfect love that we all should be aspiring for. And so it's with love that I share this message today. I hope I don't offend everybody with my message. But it is a message of love, that God loves us. Even when we fall short, He's there waiting for us to come home, like the father to the prodigal son. When the prodigal son realized, the error of his ways, he came home to his father and said, "Dad, I'm sorry for everything I've done. I don't deserve to be your son. Would you treat me like a slave? Treat me like one of your servants. Just give me, let me sleep out in the barn in the hay, and I'll do all the work for you. I'll take care of the animals and all that kind of stuff, and just throw me the scraps from your dinner table." But the father said no. He said, "You're still my son. I still love you. Welcome home." And then he threw this huge party for him. That's how God is with us. He loves us even when we're sinners. Even when we, say, "I hate you, Dad. I hate you, Mom," that sort of thing with our parents. God, our Father, still loves us. And when we go astray, He's still waiting patiently for us to come home, begging for us to come home, and just waiting for us to come to our senses. And so, yes, we are born with evil inclinations in our heart. There's no one perfect, no, not one. And so it's up to us to hear His call of love, to hear Him saying, "I love you, my child. Please come home. Please come home. Live under my roof by my rules. You may not like it at first, but it's going to be worth it in the end. because otherwise you're going to be out in the world that doesn't care about you. And when you run out of money and all your friends that are hanging out with you now and drinking it up and having a great time with, they're going to just toss you out with the pigs, and they won't care about you. They'll just leave you in the mud, in the dirt. Not our loving Father. He loves us, and he's waiting for us to come home. So that's my message for today. I did enjoy this trailer. The special effects look good. I didn't see anything jumped out at me in the trailer that suggested that it was going to be a negative message. Like I said, I do enjoy where they put a spin on things. If you're going to do a remake or a sequel or a reimagining of some great franchise, you want to do it in a way that honors the original, that is true to it, that doesn't change it too much, but to tell the same story from a different perspective, or to tell a prequel from a different perspective. I like that idea. Another one they did recently, maybe 10, 15 years ago, was the other Oz the Great and Powerful. I really, really enjoyed that one. That had some great spiritual themes into it. It went back and told the story of the wizard, how he came to Oz, and the struggles that he had with his faith and the people that were looking up to him at that time. And so I think this is going to be probably similar to that, where it tells a story that went back and told the story of the Wicked Witch and how she became the way she was. I get a feeling that this is going to be more in depth, go far deeper into her personal story, and give us a lot of perspective on that. And I think we can all learn from those types of stories and realize that, when there are people out there that we think of as sinners, as evil, as bad people, 9 times out of 10, there's a logical reason as to how they got that way. And we need to help them to come back to being a productive member of society, and that begins with understanding them. And so there is absolutely true evil in this world, and I'm not justifying it by any means. We have to stand up and speak out against true evil. But most of the time when you see a person, it's not that person is evil, it's they've been led astray by evil. And so, hate the evil and the people, but the people that are caught up in it, show them love, show them mercy, show them true love like God shows us, because there but for the grace of God go I. I've made my mistakes in the past, and thank God that he's helped me overcome them and become a better person. That could very easily be me in their shoes. And so let's have a healthy perspective on people who are doing things that demonstrate that they've been led astray. And let's lead them back from the broad way to the straight and narrow path. And not that we're all perfect. I'm not perfect by any means either. But I am striving to be on that straight and narrow path. And I just pray that God would help me to continue to move forward on that path, and that I could be a positive influence on those around me. And hopefully together we can help each other, make it down that path to that yellow brick road, so to speak, and make it to the happy ending where there's no place like home. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, hit the like button, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what you think I should react to next, particularly when it comes to the music channel. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a wonderful, blessed week. God bless. Bye.